Comparison is a very deadly disease. It affects its victim in a very negative way. In this video, I will be sharing with you 5 ways comparison affects your children. I have also made a video on the effect of comparison in marriage. Check it out with the link in the description box below. Point number 1, it increases siblings rivalry. Have you ever been to a family and you don't seem to understand how they relate? They seem not to be in agreement always, and you keep wondering, how are they siblings? If they tell you that some people are siblings, you will be surprised because they always behave like cat and dogs outside and even in the home. Why is that? Some parents find it as a pleasure to always use some younger siblings to compare to the older siblings. Sometimes they can do something like this. Can't you see how your younger one washes clothes? Look at you at your age, you don't even know how to wash your socks. But your younger one can actually do this, do that, do this better than you. You are creating an enmity that will continue for the rest of their life if care is not taken. So let's try as much as possible as a parent to treat every child as an individual. If this your child is very good at doing laundry, what is the other child very good at? Use it to praise him and encourage him or her to do things the best way they can. You remember they are children and they will always learn. So instead of comparing a child to his siblings, whether older or younger, encourage that child to do better in their weaknesses by praising them and reinforcing them in the little one they know how to do better. Point number 2, it suppresses the talent of that child. Have you ever wondered, a child who comes home after school with homework, if there is no drawing in that homework, the child might not be interested in doing the homework until you force them to do it. Some children are more interested in mathematics. If they don't have mathematics in their homework, you have to beg them to do their homework. But some children actually solve their verbal homework right from school before they come. If you ask them, do you have homework? Mommy, I have done it in the class. The only thing that is left for you is to look at that subject and do correction if need be. If there is no need, praise that child and encourage him to do the remaining homework. So what am I saying in essence? Instead of you to be telling a child, why didn't you know how to do this thing? Your sister, she can solve mathematics as if there is no tomorrow. This one can do this. Why can't you do it? Are your classmates that are doing it better than you? You are not playing football. And your brother can play football very well. Why are you not acting drama? Why are you not singing? Have you tried to find out what this child knows how to do better? Even if some children are trying to show you where they are taking with, most parents don't even have time to discover that. And by trying to make them do things like the other people, you are suppressing their own God-given talent as an individual. And that is why we have people in different professions who are frustrated doing it because their parents push them into doing such courses. So the time and era for parents to say, I am a medical doctor, my children must. There are families of medical doctors. Just because a parent is enjoying the fact that he is a doctor or she is a doctor and decided that all her children must be science students. What if your child is supposed to be an IT mogul in future? You have ended up limiting that child's future and potential to being a nurse or a doctor. Please, parents, even if a child is a teacher, I am raised by a teacher and I equally went to teaching training school, but I ended up not being a conventional teacher in private school or state school. But guess where I'm teaching? I am a therapist in my place of work beside the thing I do online as a relationship therapist. A teacher is a teacher. These days, you don't have to be a secondary school teacher to be a teacher. You can be teaching on any platform and earn good money. So gone are the days where people say, you cannot do this. You have to suppress this talent because I want you to be this. Please, parents, if you want to raise a self-reliant adult, allow them allow them to be independent and harness their potential in their own ways. Their talent must be observed and encouraged. The next point is it diminishes self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem, whatever you call it. A child who feels he is good for nothing because of the way you treat them. For instance, a child in primary school goes to school and carries the class on the head, which means he is first from the reverse, the last position, and comes home. Yes, it is not pleasant to hear. Neither is it pleasant to see your child be in the last position. But you as an individual know that this child is very bright, intelligent, and brilliant. There is a say that exam is not the best test of brilliance or intelligence for anyone. It's not the best tool to test anyone's intelligence or brilliance. Why do you now feel that a child must take first position or second position before you acknowledge him as an intelligent person? So if a child comes home with a last position in the class, tell that child, I know you could do better than this. I know you are very intelligent. You are very brilliant. And I know that something went wrong. Discuss with that child. Put it to that child. What do you think must have gone wrong? Let that child tell you something. Work with it. Be a more solution provider than a criticizing parent. Just try to help them figure out their problem and help them overcome those problems. And when they come back home with that kind of position, we tell them, do you know how much I'm paying for your school fees? Are you the people that took first position? Do they have two heads? Are their parents better than your parents? Are they better than you? How can you go and disgrace me like this? How can you take my name to the mud? It is very unacceptable for you to go to school and become the last position. At worst, some people don't even accept their children coming home with second position. If you take second position, you will receive the beating of your life for being a second in your class. That should be discouraged. Encourage and motivate your children to do better, because if you continue to make them feel that they are good for nothing, they cannot achieve anything, they are just there, these children will continue to deteriorate instead of picking up from where they are having challenge. Number 4, set realistic expectations for your children. African parents, I don't know how it is outside Nigeria. Every parent have the tendency of falling into the same trap of setting unrealistic goals for their children. Sometimes we want to push our children from nursery 1 to primary 2 because they are big in size. They are very tall. They are bigger than their classmates. They are taller than their classmates. Sometimes, not just that, we go to visit a family friend and we find out that the child in that family can read in kindergarten, in nursery 1, and then you come home and you are forcing and insulting your child. Is this person's child not your mate? Is she not in the same school and class with you? Why is it that you cannot even read a sentence and that child could finish a whole page of a storybook? Why can't you do this? You are being unrealistic. Why? Because that child have different developmental phase to the other. That is why abroad and in some part of Nigeria there is Montessori method of teaching, a method of teaching that they call it individualized method of teaching, where they have nothing more than 5 to 10 children in a class with one teacher facing every child in a subject. Sometimes you see a child in the same class doing a second term work in first term. Then sometimes you see a child in the same class struggling with first time work. And in that same class, in first or second term, some children who are highly gifted, who are very fast, catches up and move to primary 2. Doesn't mean that this person who is fast is more brilliant or intelligent than the other. The only difference is that every individual learn at their pace, learn differently. So the method of this person's learning might be a little bit delayed than the other person. So everybody at the end of the day, if well attended to, will achieve greatness at the end of their lifetime. Allow that child to build self-confidence, to be self-reliant by the way you handle them in their own way. Point number 5, carefree attitude. A child who has been criticized, castigated, who has been told that he is good for nothing, he is worth nothing, worthless, who is not being taken serious in the family, has every tendency to develop carefree attitude. When I say carefree, this child has resolved within him or his or herself that I will no longer care because there is no need of impressing anyone since nobody believes in me. So for that reason, anything goes. If he goes to school, if she goes to school, anything, they will not concentrate. Besides other conditions that might make a child not to concentrate, childhood experience, attention deficit disorder condition, and some other distraction. Children who are being treated like this can show high degree of nonchalant attitude. In order to make a child going through this condition to become fit again, you need to start showing them unconditional love, attention, bring them close to you, encourage them, tell them that they are worth more than this. You know that you know better than this, but you are not just trying to pay attention. Teach them to pay attention to their work, teach them, encourage them, and give them the spirit of self-reliance. Let them rely on themselves. Let them think. Give them an avenue to start thinking out their issues and solving their problem. And always make sure that you have their back so that they will always be confident that when they come home with this particular challenge, that their parents will always be there for them to teach and put them through whatever challenge they are having. So parents, let us be guided. Comparison, no matter how small, can really affect a child. You can imagine a child who doesn't know how to talk very well, who didn't start speaking at the face of her siblings or his siblings. You come, if a child opens the mouth to talk, if the child say, I want to drink water, you hear, I want to drink, you will be discouraging that child. That you see your age mate, is it not your age mate that is singing a whole song? You can't even say, I want to drink water. Stuff like that can actually make a child to lose interest in even speaking at all. And that is why you go to some family, you see children that are isolated, doing just always on their own. Even when their siblings and their parents are together, they will go to a room and isolate themselves. Children like that are children who have been looked down upon, criticized, demeaned, and then robbed of their self-esteem. Always remember God as the center of everything you have in life, including your children's developmental stage. If you know all that, you will rely on God to help you teach and train your child to be the best of whatever He has created them to be. If this is the first time you are coming across my channel, I am Coach Zara. I teach women how to do marriage based on God's standard and perspective. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.